Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with X-Men Legends number 2. And there's ups and downs to this book so far. We've only gone over issue 1, now we're going over issue 2. And when we get closer to the end, I'll explain why this has good and bad qualities. However, I will say in 2 issues that I've read thus far, surpasses all the garbage that I've read thus far on the Dawn of X books. I don't mean to bash like that, but 90% of them are so damn boring. I'll go over a few later that have kind of wound up in my collection and explain, but this right here feels like X-Men. They don't feel like separatists. They don't feel like villains. They don't feel like pod people. And the writing feels a little more in control. Reason being, this is Fabian Nicieza, writer, Britt Booth, penciler, Adelso Corona doing inks, Guru EFX colorist, VC's Joe Caramanga doing lettering. Here's everyone else working on the book. X-Men created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So kind of to put in context what happened last issue, I didn't really spoil it, but Adam X, Havoc, and Cyclops get into a fight. They don't know that they're siblings. Corsair shows up, shoots Adam in the head. And there's a bounty on Adam out in the galaxy. And Scott and Havoc are just like, what the hell did you just do? You killed him in cold blood. But they don't realize how strong Adam is. He's like, no, he didn't. And Cyclops is like, you have a healing factor? No. And they kind of go a little too much into detail on the power. But it's interesting to kind of see this sibling rivalry. And here, from what I understand, if you go back in time to when Adam was first introduced in the early 90s, his backstory wasn't very clear. So I like that it shows how Adam came to be. Like, we sort of kind of got a hint at it in issue 1, but here it comes full circle, and Corsair explains how Adam is the byproduct of his wife before she was killed in cold blood, and Decan, who is Lilandra's brother, the Mad King, if you guys remember from the early days of when Jean was the Phoenix, and they had to help save the M'Kraan crystal from Decan because he was the mad evil king at the time. And when they wanted to purge all of Decan's eugenics, which Adam was one, he was saved because, you think about it, it's just an innocent kid. And he was raised by people that loved him and gave him a moral compass, even though he knew that he was this deadly weapon that was supposed to be Decan's machinations. So I like that we at least get his backstory revealed and sort of kind of get where he came from. The other brother, Vulcan, I think is his name, I know zero about, and I've never really cared to dig into it. If it's interesting, let me know where to start. I kind of have an inkling where, but it's not something that I'm going to actively pursue. I thought Adam X was interesting, especially if you go back and read that issue of X-Force where him and Shatterstar are stuck in Mojo World together. That was an awesome issue. I'll put a card up. We reviewed it, so you guys can click it at your convenience. Now, what's poignant about all of this, and this is what I love about Fabian Nicieza, is he's been writing X-Men forever and ever and ever. You know, he helped build up the Age of Apocalypse, wrote through the Age of Apocalypse. He worked X Factor and the latter half of New Mutants with Rob Liefeld. He wrote X-Men, God, how long? It was from like 93, 94 to probably the later half of the 90s, maybe even the early 2000s. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he has a working knowledge of the X-Men. And here what I like is Eric the Red wants Adam X. So Corsair says he's going to deliver him. And so in Adam's mind, he goes, or I think this is Adam X talking, or Cyclops. I'm not 100% sure here, but it says, Cyclops explained Eric the Red had chosen this spot for an exchange because it had a breathable atmosphere. But more. because he thought this summer's history here would unnerve the X-Men. Here, they fought the Shi'ar Imperial Guard for the life of their comrade and Scott's love, Jean Grey. Fought and lost. Full circle. So I like that they bring elements that made the rich history that is the X-Men alive and utilizing it here. And again, here we are, 2022, and it's not here. I can't remember where it's at. And I'm not going to go actively dig, but we get the editor's note saying this was the Dark Phoenix saga from Uncanny X-Men 129 through 138. There's a couple more of these, and here towards the end it says Exhausted Bob, or whoever the editor is, I can't remember. But it starts to feel like it did back in the 90s. And I'm not saying, oh, this is the best because it's nostalgia. But this creative team that's working on this book knows what made these comics great. How they were able to bring the fans in. And I've said countless times how it makes you feel like you're part of the joke. Like you're in with the gang and you're understanding what's going on. Instead of feeling like you're on the outside looking in on Krakoa, where everyone acts like they're these pretentious little shits. You don't feel that here. Because Nikezia has a working knowledge of the X-Men, at least to a degree, everybody feels the way they're supposed to. I mean, Corsair has always been kind of this sort of, I always call him like the Jack Sparrow, where he always will act like an idiot, but he's not when he's in the middle of a fight. Unless, of course, he's being pushed to his limit. But here, we're playing Eric the Red. He says, if you're here, Corsair, and you have considered that helping us place Adam on the throne means great opportunities for the loyal to our cause. Civil war means trade routes, disrupted trade routes, cargo ships, ripe for the plucking, seizing control of stargates. A lot of people killed or enslaved too. So, sure, that's bad. And then Raza's like, the target's been secured. Well, that's a relief, Raza. I was running out of material. And just boom! Adam's like, it's time for me to show why. To show the part that I don't like about myself, that I was born and bred for. The last sad hope for Shi'ar evolution. And so he goes full on. And just look at the splash page. Brett Booth and the art team just really kicked ass here. And I don't want to go through all the little dialogue boxes because it really is what makes this writer and creative team together making something awesome. But Adam talks about how he's able to boil the blood of exposed blood of any victim he attacks. And he says it can be painful or deadly by my choice. My powers are not limited by numbers. What I could do so easily on a battlefield to 100, I could do from orbit to 1 billion. Whew. Now, the way the book ends, it's interesting, and it kind of shows how, and this is where I was talking about at the beginning of the review, that this book has great, good and bad qualities. In a sense, you get this awesome space story with Cyclops and all the Summers family, but then it gets retconned, essentially. And I guess retcon's not the best word, but read it. Let me know what you think. It's just really disappointing the way it has to end in order for this to work into main X-Men continuity. It's a little disappointing, but nonetheless, at least we're getting some good storytelling. It just feels like it's been too long that we just haven't had anything that's felt like the X-Men. And Fabian Nicieza is kicking ass in terms of writing, and the art team is just spot on thus far. If you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little mutant bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedbacks down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.